It's time for Lunch Songs Live! It's time for Lunch Songs Live! It's time. Another bloody sunrise through the kitchen window comes. You and I tired out, we're beating on the same damn drum. Not regret the shit I said, but both of us weren't oh so numb. You ain't gonna win this thing, so why'd you even start? Make a case and then I'll wait and watch it fall and fall apart. Let's lay it on the table now, 'cause someone's gotta hold the winning card. But it's hard to find on either side of the firing squad. In the haunted little stadium we've made of both our hearts, 7 rifles patiently all wait to do their part. You can almost hear their echo ring before the things are even sharp. 1,000 tons of concrete, 2 versions of the truth. Somehow neither one is met the burden of its proof. The way it bears repeating prayer to boost the odds that 1 or 2 get through. But it's hard to know when you're next to go with the firing squad. Forgive me, forgive me, I know not what I've done. Oh, forgive you, yeah, I forgive you too. 'Cause who knows who's held under or left holding the gun. In this beautiful and terrifying place that we call home, well, maybe it's a fixer fine, but it's got decent bones. I wanna ask for you to dance across the broken glass of all we've known. 'Cause if that will be done, baby, you're the one for my firing squad. So when I look up, I wanna see you, love, my firing squad. My firing squad. My firing squad. Hello, everyone. How's it going? It's Thursday, and it's a Thursday in which what's going on in my life? I think my allergies started yesterday. I get like 2 weeks of really bad hay fever in the late spring, and I'm pretty sure they started yesterday. Either that or I'm sick. But luckily for all of you out there, you can't catch what I have because I'm in this room quarantined by myself, and you're on the other side of the zeros and ones. What am I going to do? I'm going to do a song called Moonlight in a Cage, which I don't think I've ever played on this series, on this live stream that I do. But it's about commitment. When commitment is a daily choice and not a legal contract. One sec. Try that again. Tried to fix you. There we go. Lovers tried to fix you like words upon a page. Lock you in a tower like it's some long forgotten age. But the only way to reach someone, only way to keep someone is like moonlight in a cage. Other lovers tried to hold you to some vow they think you made, or built for you a temple, some audacious colonnade. Only way to prove your love to someone you are worthy of is to choose a day to day. To be moonlight in a cage. Never leave you. You say you'll always stay. You say I'd never hurt you. You promise not to stray. But I don't want this as a bargain, a truce or a trade. If you're still here tomorrow, 'cause I'm here today. And the only way to prove your love to someone you are worthy of, and the only way to keep someone, and the only way to reach someone is like moonlight in a cage. 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 Moonlight in in a cage. All right. Let's see who's out there. Laura Rendell, thank you so much. It's definitely not winter anymore in Maine because I'm sweating. Yeah, so let's see. What am I going to play? I'll do, yeah, I'll do a Fleetwood Mac song. That is perennially difficult to play for me. So, here goes. Looking out for love, the night's so still. Oh, I built you this kingdom in a house on a hill. Looking out for love, big, big love. Say that you love me, that you always will. Oh, you beg me to keep you in a house on a hill, looking out for love, big, big love. Well, I wake up alone with it all. I wake up, but only to fall. Looking out for love, big, big love. Looking out for love, big, big love. So, let me turn my little camera switcher off for a second. Nope, wrong one. There we go. So yesterday, I was not feeling well. Couldn't figure out if I was sick or my allergies were starting. I think my allergies are starting. So I decided to take kind of the last hour of my workday off and sit on the couch. And I watched that new Apollo 11 documentary, which it's amazing. It is so beautiful. Like they discovered, I'm sure it was sitting in a vault that someone knew about at NASA. But basically they have something like 11,000 hours of audio recordings that had not been used, and, you know, all these, I don't know, dozens or hundreds of hours of footage that had never been used in documentaries before, and it is so beautiful. It's that like very cinematic 60s saturated color look. I couldn't believe, like, the whole movie starts with that sort of giant tread tank thing that is the launch pad, I think, for the rocket, and it starts with that being moved like down a highway. I'm like, oh my! It like looks like something almost the Jawa transport on Star Wars. If anyone's a Star Wars fan, it's something totally out of sci-fi, and yet it happened 50 years ago. But anyways, I would recommend you watch the Apollo 11 documentary that came out. It's so good. And it did that usual thing of making me swell up thinking about human achievement and how amazing it was that we did this thing. And then I got really sad because not that scientific exploration and space travel and all that is for nothing, but essentially it was this giant thing we did just to do it. And while it's amazing and really cool that we got some people to the moon and back a number of times, the amount of resources that went into that was staggering. And there's all these scenes in the movie of, these in Houston and in Florida, these huge teams of maybe even hundreds of, brilliant physicists and computer scientists and, who knows what else, engineers and all kinds of brilliant minds that were put to work on this endeavor that essentially was just to do it. The whole time I'm thinking, like, friggin', like, if we could muster the same focus and resources towards any number of problems, but particularly the problem that everyone on this planet is facing with climate change, what could we do? Anyways, that's my depressing rant for the day. But watch Apollo 11. It's amazing. And then I texted my friend Arthur, who is the bassist on many, if not all, my recordings, and who plays with me live a lot in Oregon. He's a big space NASA aficionado, and so I asked him if he'd seen it, and he was like, "Of course I've seen it." And he told me about reading this autobiography by Michael Collins, who was the guy that the three astronauts went up, and two of them landed on the moon, and the other guy had to keep orbiting, and then he waited to pick them up, and then they all got home together. So Arthur was recommending Michael Collins' autobiography. And he mentioned that guy, unlike a lot of those NASA astronauts, didn't have that machismo of the test pilots that a lot of them had, the bravado and all that. So I think he appreciated that tone, I guess. But then it reminded me, I sent him back a couple texts of John Craigie, the Portland folk singer, has a song called Michael Collins, which you should all check out. And if you do, you should listen to John Craigie's live album called Opening for Steinbeck. It's a really great album because he's hilarious, and actually the thing I enjoy most about him is his stories he tells between songs, and he's got a great one before he plays the Michael Collins song, all about kind of like the other two guys, Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, getting all the accolades and fame by being the two people that stepped on the moon while he heroically waited to pick them up. So yeah, check that out. And now that I've talked for a long time, I don't know what I'm going to play. Let's see. Let me do... California boarding house. There's a baby sick in bed for the second night. His mama holds a cold cloth to his head. If she dials 911, the EMTs could tell DHS to call ICE. The whole thing could come undone just by tugging on one thread. She's got the phone cord coiled around her fingers like a rosary for prayer. And when the men come through that unlocked door, the boy's delivered to their care. 'Cause that's love in a time of sharp decline. Ain't that love in a time of sharp decline? When the follow through is equal to the fear it overrides. Ain't that love in time of sharp decline? When the Visigoths were north of Rome, the Pope came out and said, all you pagan savages go home, or the Lord will strike you dead. So the tribal king decided to obstruct the aqueduct, and he blocked the flow of food to market, and then he burned up all the crops. So the Pope said to the emperor, sir, without water, fish, and bread, you're royally fucked, and I guess my God wants me to save myself instead. 'Cause that's love in a time of sharp decline. Ain't that love in a time of sharp decline? When the naked truth and the need for proof are walking side by side. Ain't that love? Time of sharp decline. There's a woman holding vigil in her husband's final days, sifting through the superficial things the hospice nurses say. Since they began the drip to ease his slip, she's never once left his side. She keeps whispering, will you marry me, though she knows he can't reply. 50 years been refined to something words cannot convey. It's like staring straight into the sun, and she never turned away. 'Cause that's love in a time of sharp decline. Ain't that love in a time of sharp decline? Ain't that love in a time of sharp decline? Ain't that love in a time of sharp decline? When the faith you bring is the only thing you don't have to leave behind. Ain't that love in a time of sharp decline? Ain't that love in a time of sharp decline? Sung by Paul Simon. This one. having this discussion in a taxi heading downtown. Rearranging my position on this friend of mine who had a little bit of a breakdown. I said, hey, you know, breakdowns come and breakdowns go, and so what are you gonna do about it? That's what I'd like to know. You don't feel you could love me, but I feel you could. It was in the early morning hours when I fell into this phone call, believing I had supernatural powers. I slammed into a brick wall. I said, hey, is this my problem? Is this my fault? That's the way it's gonna be. I'm gonna call the whole thing to a halt. You don't feel you could love me, but I feel you could. You don't feel you could love me, but I feel you could. Ooh, ooh. Da, 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 da. I was walking down the street when I thought I heard this voice say, ain't we walking down the same street together on the very same day? I said, hey, senorita, that's astute. I said, why don't we get together and call ourselves an institute? Well, you don't feel you could love me, but I feel you could. You don't feel you could love me, but I feel you could. Ooh, ooh, walking down the street, I thought I heard this voice say, I was having this discussion in a taxi heading downtown. I was having this discussion in a taxi heading downtown. I was having this discussion in a taxi heading downtown. You could love me, but I feel you could. You don't feel you could love me, but I feel you could. You don't feel you could love me, but I feel you could. You don't feel you could love me, but I feel you could.
Hey, Matt, Jason, and Joseph. Thanks for tuning in here. Joseph from the UK. Dinner songs for you. And Matt, yeah. I don't know if it was a slick move, me dropping my slide, but it became a necessary move. But thank you. How are you doing, by the way? I hope you're playing a lot of music. And do you have plans to go to Austin in August? I hope so. So the other day, on Tuesday, I tried to go live. Well, I did go live, but the audio wasn't working for a song for my first song, and then my mom was watching, and she said, "Hey, no one can hear anything." And actually, I believe Jason, or maybe it was Joseph, I can't. Maybe it was both of you were saying, "We can't hear anything." So, anyways, I hopped off and went live again, and the audio was working, but my mom was still watching the first broadcast, so she came in. She was actually visiting me. She came and knocked on the door. Was like, "No one can hear you still." So I stopped again, even though that time people could hear me. And by then, I just moved on to another song when I started the broadcast the third time. So I'm going to try it again here. This is a song about Facebook arguments.
Here we are again, standing in the same old ring, with our knuckles bruised and bloody till our hands can't feel a thing. We swing the same old punches like they're points we've yet to make, in the same old endless argument we make for their own sake, until someone's gotta finally stop and someone's heart of morning breaks. It feels like we're fighting in a photograph, just going through the motions. We're just trying to land that jab. See our shadows where they've fallen, both knocked flat on the mat, both frozen in the moment that some asshole's camera flashed, as if there's wrong and right and black and white, and this is this and that is that. Maybe what connects us, maybe all we understand, is that old familiar feeling of the punches we can land. Well, maybe we've abandoned ever trying to get it right, because somewhere right got lost in all those knockdown, drag-out nights, where we're captured like shadows that had to go hiding from the light is moving closer at the same speed that it leaves. But I'm throwing in the towel now and hoping we'll agree that a shadow in a photo can unfreeze.
Right. So, speaking of arguments and Facebook, I made a post yesterday about the very real Handmaid's Tale that's happening in our own friggin' country. And I know I have listeners and friends who disagree with me on on quite a lot of things, and I think they give me shit for being strident with my opinions or whatever. So if you're one of those people, just bear with me. I'm not going to tell you how you should feel about abortion or how I should feel about reproductive rights or anything like that, but I will tell you how I feel about how you feel about it, which is the burden of childbearing and child rearing really only falls to half the population, as well as the burden of living their whole lives knowing that that will be their burden if certain things happen that are, sometimes, well, whatever, So regardless of sort of whatever dimension, a moral dimension or ethical or whatever sort of frames your feelings about women's access to abortion, I feel like because men do not bear that burden, and we can't, we should exclude ourselves, maybe not from having an opinion. That's sort of how I framed it yesterday, and I might be wrong about that. But I feel like we should recuse ourselves from anything having to do with legislating this issue, particularly because
having this discussion in a taxi heading downtown.
Yeah, you were. So anyway, this is because men's voices have been for a long time the only voices, and then certainly the loudest voices still on this issue. I feel like, I know this is completely unrealistic, but just that we should recuse ourselves from speaking in a way, and that we should put all our energy behind listening and shutting our mouths and letting the debate be shaped by women. And yes, I know there are plenty of women who are for restricting or banning abortion. I get that. But I think if the debate were purely left to women, we'd have a way more nuanced and empathetic discussion and policies and whatever. So it's my ill-formed preachiness for the moment. And I'm going to follow it up with a song called Straight White Male.
There's a street light out at the end of your cul-de-sac, where the crickets rub their legs in the woods out back, and the dark like death stretches on. You can't tell what's the woods and what's your lawn. Straight white male. Did your straight white dad tell you, hey kid, you dare not fail? 'Cause the measure of a real man's in his hands. Oh, ain't that right, white American man? You put an angel up at the top of your Christmas tree, and it shines a little cheery light for all your kids and wife to see. When the house falls asleep, you unplug that wire, leave it on too long, you know it'll start a fire. Straight white male, like the big fat head of the old snake who eats his tail. All the only thing you understand's the only thing you understand. Oh, ain't that right, white American man, straight white male. And though your rising tide is useless if the wind doesn't fill all sails, but you better bail a leaky boat and never lose sight of land. Oh, ain't that right, white American man? There's a street light out at the end of your mortgaged lawn. Somewhere across town, lights are coming on.
All right, I'm going to take a second to read some comments here. Thank you, Benjamin Smith. Thanks for watching. And Matt, I hope to see you in Austin. That would be great. Lauren, yes, we'll Lauren's saying that I need some more interesting art than these boring black panels back here. I kind of like it though. But yeah, if you think we need to change it up, let me know. Julia, the song makes the song Straight White Male makes you want to slap me across the face for some reason. If anyone doesn't know what she's talking about, I shot a music video about 4 or 5 months ago in the winter on a freezing cold night with my friend Julia and Lauren and Andrea and Shad and Shuja, and we basically were out in the cold, and Julia and Andrea kept slapping me across the face. Not just at random, it was part of the video, which I've yet to edit because things are just crazy busy. Things are bitty. But I will edit it soon and put it out hopefully in the next few months. All right, now I've been preachy. I've talked about a documentary about the moon. What else do we got here? I'll do a cover.
Times do I have to try and tell you that I'm sorry for the things I've done? When I start to try and tell you, that's when you have to tell me, hey, this kind of trouble's only just begun. I've heard myself too many times. Why don't you ever learn to?
Oh shit. There we go. I got distracted by David wondering what the harmony pedal is. Let me answer the question, and then I'll go back to this interrupted rendition of Annie Lennox's Why. So, David, it is the Voice Live Extreme 3, or the Voice Live 3 Extreme, rather, by TC Helicon, which is a great pedal. I'm putting my guitar through it and my voice, and it does like a billion other things than what I'm using it for, but I don't need that much. It's just me and an acoustic guitar, so. All right, let me see if I can remember this song.
I've heard myself say too many times, why don't you ever learn to keep your big mouth shut? That's why it hurts so bad to hear the words that keep falling from your mouth. Falling from your mouth. Falling from your mouth. Tell me why, 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 why. I may be mad, I may be blind, maybe viciously unkind, but I can still read what you're thinking. Now I've heard it said too many times, you'd be better off besides. Why can't you see this boat is sinking? This boat is sinking. This boat is sinking. Let's go down to the water's edge. We can cast away those doubts. Some things are better left unsaid, but they still turn the inside out. Turning inside out. Turning inside out. Tell me why, why, why? Tell me why, why? These are the books I've never read. These are the words I've never said. This is the path I'll never tread. These are the dreams I dream instead. This is the joy that seldom spread. This is the fear, the fear. This is the fear, this is the dread. These are the contents of my head. These are the years we spent. This is what they represent. Do you know how I feel? I don't think you know how I feel. I don't think you know how I feel. I don't think you know how I feel. Why, 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 why? I don't think you know.
All right. Thank you, David. Thank you all so much for watching. I think I got time for one more, and then hopefully I'll see you on Tuesday. I do these every Tuesday and Thursday, and yeah. So let's see. I'm sure played a bunch of downer songs here. See if I have something upbeat. Do I have anything upbeat? I've stumped myself. Well, this is still a downer, but it's sort of upbeat. It's an upbeat downer.
There's a bird who fishes with a rope tied around this little bird throat. Catches everything it can, brings it to the man standing on his little wood boat. Just by habit, I'm still waking up at 4. 'Cause that's when I got used to Linda coming through the door. I heat up something from the fridge, talk about the bills and kids, trade the keys, and then I'd drive out to the shore. Well, Daddy said a real man provides, that the pressure and the purpose is his biggest point of pride. But the people we work for are paying less, keeping more, so I can't afford a funeral for my bride. But there's a bird who fishes with a rope tied around its little bird throat, catches everything it can, brings it to the man standing on his little wooden boat. Some people work their fingers to the bone, other people share an office and feel equally alone. Some roll $20 bills to buy a sandwich bag of pills that leaves them empty as the summer people's homes. Woo! On the best of days, I can sleep till 5. Throw an Eggo in the toaster, eat it while I drive. Oh, my daughters, they can make their own breakfast, and by 8 they're waiting for a school bus to arrive. But there's a bird who fishes with a rope tied around its little bird throat, and the granting of that wish just to have one little fish dangles like an unresolved note. When there's a bird who fishes with a rope tied around its little bird throat, and I guess you could say it was captive to the way. It preferred a little certainty to hope.
All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and say hey. If you have requests for next time, let me know. I'll be back Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday 1 p.m. So yeah, I will see you then, and I hope you have a good rest of your week and weekend.